much growth. Anyway, we'll chat more after the break, eh? Welcome back. Welcome back to Hood Philosophy. I noticed that I double up on things. Anyway, so I was talking about growing up in Nala. Nala's a tough place. Nala's a rough place. Sometimes, there were times in Nala where you couldn't walk down the street without, you know, the possibility of danger. It's a place that makes you tough. It either breaks you or makes you tough, eh? But it's also a place that where community and connection is important. Don't get me wrong. I've rolled with some cats that you would think are a little bit unsavory, but they got big hearts, man. And lots of these fellas, if they channeled that energy into different places, oof, the world would be a greater place. Let me tell you right now. See, the hood has everything. It's it's a it's a melting pot, right? You know, you got drugs, you got violence, you got addiction, you got abuse, you have it all. You have it all. And for the first few fellas that watch this podcast, it's let me tell you now, it's a different way of growing up. Because I didn't come from a poor family. Don't get me wrong, we were working class and we lived week to week. More so because, yeah, my parents worked hard to put food on the table. I'm not one of these people that get it twisted. See, we grew up rough, right? We grew up tough, but we had food in our bellies and we had the roof. We had clothes on our backs. We didn't have brand clothes, and that's what led down to the hustle. And that's when you grow up in a place like Anala, drugs and the like is everywhere around, right? And goods that have been acquired in a certain way, and even just when you don't have much, you want for the you want everything you don't have, especially when you're a young fella. And how do you get coin when you're a young fella? And for me, I've always worked, but I got my hustle on. And I love the hustle. See, for me, being a hustler doesn't mean being a dope dealer, being a drug dealer. It's being an entrepreneur. See, people are going to disagree with me when I say this, but why? What's what's the difference? See, a hustler doesn't just hustle drugs. He hustles CDs, shoes, clothes, hats, all these different kinds of things. Basketball cards, whatever is the talk of the day. That's what a hustler is getting his grind on. He's that's what he wants to sell because he wants to make that money. And sometimes not even because he necessarily needs that money to feed his family or 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 that. Don't get me wrong, 99% of the time that's where it comes from. But once the hustle is in you, it don't leave you. Yeah. This so yeah, Nala's a beautiful place. I don't go back much. I I kind of had to cut everybody I knew, all the places that I frequented, just my whole social connection to the place I had to cut because when my best friend hung himself, this is back when I was 22. Um, I started the journey of being a better person, and I apologize for my language, not being a shit cunt, right? Uh, I wanted to stop being a shit cunt. I wanted to stop making excuses. I wanted to become more resilient. I wanted to be a better father. I wanted to be a better son. I really wanted to be a better husband. And and at the crux of it all, I wanted to be a better man. And the only way to do that is to stop what you're doing, right? You know, if you take it from me now, you want to stop being a shit cunt, stop. And don't get it twisted, man. It's hard fucking work. Looking at yourself in the mirror and doing that self reflection, that that takes heart. And some of us have more of it than others, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know, like it might be hard for some of you to hear, but just remember that I say that with absolutely no judgment, only love. That's what I'm about. Love. That's it. Love and respect. Love, respect, greatness. Walk with me. Let's walk in greatness. So anyway, back to Anala and the like and the hustle. I've sold dope for the majority of my adult life. For a long time, not because I wanted to, not even because I had to. I felt like I had to. I'm I'm the only one that works at home. See, like I almost sound like I'm starting to justify previous behavior, but to me, context matters, right? It has to matter. It can't just be black or white. Because I know for you, it's not for black or white. So when when people sit in judgment, I want you to ask yourselves, what if I was them? Would I have done differently? What would I have done differently? How would I have done it differently? Why would I have done it differently? Because I dare say you're going to land on, I would have done the exact same thing. Yeah. And like, you want your family to have a comfortable lifestyle, right? Not even so much comfortable. I don't want comfortable for my kids. Like, I want my kids to know the struggle. Like, and not so much the struggles that we went through when we were kids, but just some level of hardship that makes them that little bit tougher, you know, because that's what we need to get through this life. We need a little bit of, you know, what the Maldives call mana. Yeah. Um, Selling drugs leads to doing drugs leads to addiction, especially when you've got a addictive personality such as mine. Um, Oh, not too many ums. I'm pretty happy with the ums. What do you reckon, guys? I reckon I'm doing a pretty good job so far, eh? I thought, today I was shitting myself. I even had a few thoughts as to like, fuck, I don't know if I can do this. Phew, lucky, lucky I took the leap. I've already decided too that that's what the next episode's going to be about. Taking the leap. We're going to have a chat about that one because that takes courage. Like I told you, I go back and forth, and that's what this podcast is going to be about. Because that's what real discussion and conversation is like, right? You know, people jump in, they cut each other off. Don't get me wrong, I want to be a super communicator. That means active listening is always paramount and front of mind for me. I try and flow with the conversation or the discussion that is happening in real time. Sometimes I get that right, sometimes I get that wrong, but I learn and I make sure that I don't make that same mistake again. Not in its entire form, right? I want to break it down and have something that I can work on that's realistic. That's realistic. It has to be realistic. Well, anyway, back and forth we go. Yeah, so that leads to addiction. So my drug of choice was crack, meth, whatever you want to call it. I've always, yeah. No, I won't go into that. That's yeah. I'm not a big believer in that one. See, we have back to Anala. We have a bit of a moral code in Nala, right? Like people don't understand it, but one thing is you don't really talk about what you did. You can talk about things that might have happened, but you don't talk about who did it, when it happened, where it happened, none of this. You don't get into that, you know? That's for then. That doesn't mean it can't be talked about. This isn't the space to talk about it, I guess. You know, but like almost lost the thought process a little bit. But yeah, there's and back to the moral code and Nala, it's like we don't talk to police. And there's a reason for that. You know? We've had interactions with police that like, why? Why the fuck? Like, that's but that's not me. Like that's me personally. I don't advocate anything in regards to that. So yeah, so my drug of choice was crack. I I sold it as well. I sold it to feed my habit. I'll keep it real with you. Um, I I carried on that path for a few years. I seem to learn fast. I'm very blessed that like I do seem to have a little bit of intellect and common sense in regards to like the line, and I always come right up to that line, and then kind of just teeter on it and push just that little bit, just to see, you know, just to see where we're at. But then the best friend, the bro, the beautiful bro Blair, took his life, and that absolutely rocked me to my core. So my last drink was at the wake for his funeral. I had to get messy one last time for the bro, you know. Yeah, let me say a few words on Blair. I looked up to Blair, and I dare say you'll hear more about Blair in future episodes because he had a profound impact on my life. I lived with him in New Zealand, and just the way he walked, like before I was saying the Maldives call it mana, right? Like he was one of the heartiest fellows that I've come across in this life. And I just in all honesty, I still haven't come across someone that yeah, just oof, he was tough, man. And when he took his life, my my world seemed to just almost fall apart, you know, like everything it was a ripple effect. Um Relationships fell apart, families fell apart, lots of connections lost. And then one day I made the decision I needed to quit. Me and the missus had separated. She'd gone with the boy to her uncle's house. If I was her, I would have done the exact same thing. Like I said before, I was a shit cunt and I make no excuses for that. One thing you'll learn about me is I keep it real, especially when it comes to myself. I I live a life of accountability. I'm looking to do nothing but give back. I live I live a life of service to others, and for me, that shit is real. You know, people talk about it, but that's deep within my being. That's deep within my soul. So yeah, um, me and the missus had separated. My brother ripped into me. One of the other brothers, he made me cry one night. We were all on the crack, and he wasn't. He didn't fuck with it. He was smart enough. Hopefully one day you fellas get to meet him. He's a hood cat, and he's OG. You know, and I'd like to get him on the podcast just so you fellas get to hear him. Um, but anyway, yeah, he ripped into me one night, and he was standing over me. And he was just telling me, "Hey, like, is this who you really want to be?" And nah, it wasn't. It wasn't. So a culmination of a couple of people and a couple other things that happened that I can't really speak on led me to the decision that I need to quit. Yeah. Um, so that's what I did. Cold turkey. Not many people can do it. Pat myself on the back for it still. it's like I'm tough, like when I tell myself I'm gonna do something, I do it. And that's how I did it. Uh, let me tell